What's up, YouTube? I am back. It's time for the Volkswagen to get another oil change. I'm not going to use the same method I did last time. I'm going to just get it in the air. I got some ramps here I'm going to put it up on and change it the old-fashioned way and see if it's different. I think that other method works great for like lawn equipment and other things. I'm not 100% set on doing that for vehicles, so I'm going to change out the oil in the Volkswagen. This time I'll actually I'll put together a tools and everything I needed list, and I'll put it right at the end of this clip, and then you'll know how to do it yourself. And then I'll show you how I do everything. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to go over the tools that I used to do this job today. I used a 1/2-inch wrench and a 32 mil socket with an extension. This was just for the oil filter, so that's what I used for that. You can use 3/8 drive. I just didn't have a socket that was a 3/8 for that. I used a 3/8 and a 19, so 3/8 wrench and a 19 to get the oil plug off. I used just a random small hook to pull the filters off. Screwdriver I only use just to show that you can, with the funnel, putting the oil back in. I used a drill. You can use a wrench instead of a drill for the pan, but it required, for the front ones, it was a T20 star bit, and then for the back it was a T45 star bit, and then this is just the part that I needed to use my drill as opposed to a wrench, and one of these magnets so that I can throw the bolts and stuff in, and that's about it. That and obviously my ramps, but that's all the tools you're going to need for this project. Hopefully that helps, and I will get in here to showing you how to do it. Thank you. Alright, so the other thing about these ramps, I got these ones at, I think, O'Reilly's. I have a couple other ramps in the slide on the garage floor, so this is the first time I'll try these ones. They have these little rubber stops up here at the top, so hopefully it'll keep it from sliding. So we're about to find out. That works great. So this is my first time under my car. It's got this plastic under tray, and it's held together with, you know, bolts all throughout. And whoever put it in here before, they just used whatever bolts they could find. So none of them are the same. Some of these star bits. Some of them are actual bolts, and some of them are Allen wrenches. So I don't exactly know how long it's going to take me to take this under tray off. So I'm just going to start taking these parts apart until I get it off. If you do your Volkswagen, it shouldn't be this way. Hopefully it's all universal. You'll have the same whatever size you end up needing. But for me, I don't get that privilege. Just one of those. Just gotta figure out that size. That'll work. What a neat trick that is. Tools are letting me down. Those are going to require me not to cheat.
They know you probably don't like to be upset.
This is why I like to use the drill, because this is killer on your arms if you're doing it this way. Good, I think the tray's all done. Tray's out. All right, so I'm pulling the drain plug. It's on the back. I double checked. It's a 19, and I'm using the 3/8 drive. I'm trying to stick with all 3/8 drive because everything else I've used is 3/8. Just cracking it, and then I have my drain pan here. And something that I like to do when I'm getting close to pulling the plug out is I like to keep forward pressure on it as I'm twisting it, because I don't want this thing to fly out of my hands, and I want it to be fully unthreaded before I actually do it. So I feel like it's there now, starting to drip a little bit of oil, and so I should be able to pull it without making too much of a mess. Oil looks a lot better than the last time I changed this oil, for sure. And my light went out apparently. Hopefully you guys can still see what's happening here. I'll let this drain completely, let it sit for a little bit, and then I'll cap it up, put all the stuff back together, and then go to the... This car has the oil filter on top, like I showed in my last video. The part that I ended up missing in my last video was I was going to show you guys the socket that I used, or the size I needed, and for some reason it didn't film. So this time I have it, and I'll show you the socket that I needed to get that cap off. Alright, so I'm going to pull, while this is draining, I decided I'm just going to go ahead and change the filter up top. It is a 32 mil to get the top cap off. I just have a long extension, and I'm using a half drive on this just because I didn't have a drive that for the 3/8 drive. And it's just a little plastic cap. I know this is kind of a pain to get out. I remember last time I fought with it quite a bit, but I was also filming and trying to show it too, and that's where part of my problem was. So this time I have a camera. Somebody will operate my camera for me, so hopefully I can do it with both my hands. Still difficult. I think here, This is an awesome design. Oh, old oil filter. Oh, but that's where it's at, right there. And you need a 32. That's the socket that it goes on. I know it's kind of hard to see in there. So I'll clean this all up and put it back in. So also the last time I did this, I told you to replace all these seals. I just use a hook, just a little pick. There's 3 of them. So pull the big one off first. There's a big one. This one's not as bad off as it was last time. It was right here in this little groove. Then you have 2 more up here. You have one right here. Same idea. I'll pull it out with the pick. Two, and then one more right here. And unlike last time, those ones I probably could have reused, but your filter comes with the new setup, so just use them. They're with the filter, so the only thing I did, just like last time, just oil them up when you put them on. I'm gonna clean this cap a little bit before I put all that stuff back on it. So that's pretty much it. Those, and then I'll put the new oil filter on there after I get that done. New one back here, new one up here. The oil filter. I think there's a certain way this goes on. Should pay attention to that. I think it's this way. That sounded right. So new oil filter's on, all new seals. I'm gonna put it back in place. Try to get as much of that oil off my hands as I can. Still difficult to get this thing back in there. Gotta push some of this stuff out of the way. Really hard to get this thing lined up correctly once it goes back into its hole. If it didn't have all this neat stuff in the way, it'd be really easy. There it goes. So I'll tighten it with my hands. A little bit of hand tight. It still needs to go quite a ways with the wrench. Most of the time with these oil filters, you're supposed to go hand tight. This one has a wrench, but what I will say is it's still plastic, so don't just drive this thing home. Once you start feeling some decent resistance, like I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it, like there's the first sign it's kind of near the end, and I'll just give it just a little bit more, and that's it. That's all it needs. And then clip all these things back up to where they go, and move that out of the way. This one doesn't really do that anymore. Make sure it's all there, all in. So that's how that one's done. Oil filter's replaced, and that's up. That's done for the top until I add oil, which we add oil here. Tray's going back on. I believe you have to bring it up front first and get it in its all its little spots. It's got a little notch right here. Excuse me. A little notch right here that goes in here, holds this hole. Same thing over on this side. And then these little tabs will be on the outside. And it's not easy to get in either. Alright, so it's kind of held in place. I'll go back through and throw all these random screws and crap in here. Alright, now all I gotta do is add some oil cap, get that off. funnel. Make sure you clean your funnel if you keep it around your garage like I do. Mine gets full of crap. The Passat TDI, the 2.0, this is a 13. It takes 5.5 quarts. I'm using 5W30 synthetic. This is the O'Reilly's brand. I know that Volkswagens are more picky than that, and they need certain kinds of oil. That was my car, so I'm gonna put what I want in it. It is what it is as far as that goes, but it'll take all of this and then half of another quart. So I'm gonna go ahead and just fill it up. And I'll give it that last quart on the ground. So I'll put this whole bottle in, and then once I start it and put it on the ground, then I'll dial in that last quart, last half a quart. Let's see if I can show you another trick that I got. Another trick I learned over the years, because it doesn't really bother me, but if you jam a screwdriver in there, it keeps a little airflow going, and then it doesn't fill up in your funnel. It lets air out while oil's going in, which it's not showing very well here. It's going down faster for sure, but I'll just let this drain for a few minutes. Get that last little bit in. And that's basically it. Now you change the oil. I prefer this method over that the way I did it last time. The last time I did it, it was just trying something new, and I like that method, but I think I'll only use that pump, the pressure pump, on like my lawn mowers, my riding lawn mowers. Maybe if like a friend comes over with a motorcycle, ATVs, things like that, more yard equipment. I didn't really like it for the function of the car. Put the cap back on so it looks pretty. That's it. Oil change. Still gonna have to add about a half quart, but that's the end of it. Alright, so I let the car run for about 10 minutes after I got off the ramps. If you saw, I ran over my lamp because I forgot. I'll always clean off it before I try to judge where it's at. If you can see on here, there's some serrations in the front of it, and that kind of tells you what your oil level is going to be. It's hard to see, and the reason you want to clean it before you go to measure it is because when the engine's running, this oil will sometimes just come all the way up the dipstick. So clean it all off, let the car sit for a few minutes, and then put it back in there. Trickles all the way down, bring it out, and you can see I am full. So mine doesn't need that extra half a quart for some reason. The other reason too you'll want to do this is because your oil filter, when you change out your oil filter, now this car is not a good example of that, but I normally put my oil filters back in my car dry, so I have to also account for the oil that I'm going to need to fill that back up. So this car's all done, good for another 3,000 miles, and we'll try it again. And the next time I do change the oil on this particular car, I'm going to replace all those clips on that tray because that drives me nuts. If you like this video, you followed me to the end, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Also hit that notifications bell because I'm not super great at getting videos out. I'm still working on my white noise videos. I'm trying to get those out every Wednesday. Let me know what you guys think of those. But yeah, hit that notifications bell. I'm gonna try to get better about getting content. It's just in the winter time, it's a little harder for me to work on cars. It's really cold, and I'm actively working on trying to get better every video. So thank you so much for being with me today, and I will get back to you with another video.